can begin. If you haven't already done so, please find a comfortable seat. You can be seated on the ground or in a chair, whatever works for you. Some key principles to keep in mind. The seat should be comfortable and allow for the flow of breath in and out. It's best if we can keep the spine as erect as possible without being uncomfortable or forced. It's nice to be grounded in our seat. So if we're sitting in a chair, maybe just taking a moment to plant ourselves a little bit more firmly into the chair. Adjust anything we need to adjust. If we have our feet on the ground, perhaps taking a moment to, you can just kind of pedal the feet back and forth until we find a place of stability and grounding. An invitation here to close the eyes or soften the gaze as we feel comfortable. We'll begin as we generally do, taking 3 deep breaths in and out together. If it's helpful to count the breaths, we can aim to inhale for about 4 counts, hold the breath for about 4 counts, and then exhale for a little bit longer, perhaps around 6 counts. So we'll do 4, 4, and 6. If the counting doesn't feel natural or accessible to you, feel free to breathe in whatever pattern works best for you, to breathe deeply in and out, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if possible, or perhaps breathing in through the nose and then softly sighing out between the lips. Breathing in deeply. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, breathing in. Hold. Release. One final deep breath in. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Allowing the breath now to return to its own rhythm, its own pace. If it feels comfortable to maintain the same count of 4, 4, 6, you can certainly do that. But no need to force or manipulate the breath in any way. Just allowing the breath to settle, to find its own pace, and observing that pace. This simple act of noticing the breath, this in and of itself, is so powerful. Just by this simple act of noticing, we are able to calm the body, calm the mind. This this amazing breath that allows us to at once be grounded and also so light, free of any expectation or judgment, notions of doing things correctly or incorrectly, right or wrong. The breath simply is. Continuing to notice the breath. And today, if we'd like to, we can also take this opportunity to practice observing the body, this companion, this vehicle, this vessel, this wonderful gift, the body. Let's take this opportunity to gently take stock of where the body is today. What is it carrying with it? What sensations are experienced as we breathe in and out? For some of us, a body scan is part of our practice or our approach to meditation. And if it is, and you'd like to, feel free to simply go into a body scan, an observation of the body that feels right to you. If you're newer to this practice, or if you'd like to experience perhaps something a little bit different than what you ordinarily do, an invitation to follow along, to turn our attention to our hands and our feet, to these instruments of engagement with the world around us. Turning our attention to the right side of our bodies, to our right feet, our right hands and arms, and then to the left, to our left foot, our left hand, going up from the left foot, up the left leg, going up from the right foot, up the right leg. Simply noticing without judgment the sensations on both sides of our body. The sensations in our hands and our feet. Noticing with curiosity anything that is there, anything that our hands and our feet, our arms and our legs are communicating to us. and perhaps silently offering some gratitude, some appreciation to these aspects, these parts of our body, for all that they do for us, for the many ways, big and small, that they allow us to experience and interact with the world. Continuing to breathe through and to notice the breath, allowing that breath now to bring us to an awareness of our bellies, an awareness of the stomach, the organs within the belly, acknowledging anything we're feeling in this region, softening perhaps any area of tension or discomfort if we're able to, or simply observing it. A moment here perhaps to marvel at the wonders of our stomachs, of our bellies, of the organs of digestion, feeling grateful for the opportunity to be nourished, to build strength and healing throughout the body. For all the ways, big and small, that our bellies and our stomachs are serving the whole of our bodies. Allowing the sensation of our rising and falling breath to carry us from the belly up towards the chest, towards our lungs, towards our hearts. Opening the chest perhaps just a little bit more fully. Experiencing perhaps the sensations of expansion and contraction as we continue to breathe. Feeling perhaps the sensation of fullness, and perhaps of emptiness, of that fluid process of being filled and then letting go and being empty again. If we'd like to, we can bring our hands to our chests, to our hearts, and we can take a moment here to lean into our appreciation, our gratitude for the breath of life, for the beating of our hearts, for this amazing ability to send power and strength and ability to every part of our bodies, to our minds. This amazing center of our being, the seat of ourselves, of the observer. How amazing. How wonderful. Continuing to notice and observe the breath, bringing our awareness now to the head, to our minds, to the thoughts radiating from our minds, pulling our minds in various directions. Let us observe our minds and our thoughts with curiosity, with appreciation and gratitude, and perhaps even excitement. Taking a moment here to appreciate perhaps our creativity, our resilience, our discernment, our thoughtfulness. Expressing our gratitude to our minds, and perhaps softly embracing and soothing our minds that are so busy all the time, allowing perhaps in these few final moments of our meditation, our minds to come to a place of rest, a place of restoration, to allow the breath to calm and still the mind in this place of rest. Bringing our awareness to a final scan of the body as a whole, to the working senses, to the processing senses, the inner and outer organs, allowing our observation to simply rest on the body as a whole. Perhaps a final moment of appreciation and gratitude here for this gift of the body, for this precious opportunity to act in this world, to engage with this world with intention and purpose and kindness. We'll take a final deep breath in together, hold the breath and then exhale, chanting or hearing the sacred syllable Om, the sonic representation of universal consciousness. Breathing in deeply. Softly and gently in a way that feels comfortable to you. You can open the eyes or widen your gaze, returning your awareness, presence to this room and to our gathering together. Thank you all for sharing in that meditative practice of noticing and perhaps experiencing some appreciation, some gratitude for the body. Yoga philosophy so often emphasizes and stresses, for good reason, that we are not our bodies. So much in our culture pulls us to identify so strongly with the body, um, sometimes identifying with perceived um, inadequacies in the body, sometimes pulling us to identify very much with particular strengths or particular qualities of the body that may lead us to um, feel superior to others. Sometimes we're pulled to identify with the pain and the suffering of the body. Sometimes we're pulled to identify with the body as a way of escaping or bypassing suffering and trying to take shelter and indulgence of the body. Whatever pulls us, these yoga texts, this yoga wisdom reminds us that we are so much more than our bodies. And so sometimes these philosophical teachings can seem to devalue the body. And yet, if we understand on a deeper level what's being suggested here, it's not that we are seeking to negate or disregard or denigrate the body, but it's an invitation to recognize that we are so much more than our bodies. So from that standpoint of that self that is beyond the body, we can only observe that which we're not. The observer and the observed are two different things, right? The fact that we can observe something implies that we are something greater than that which is being observed. And so when we take this role as the observer, even if it's just for a 10 or 15-minute meditation, we remind ourselves that we are not these bodies, and yet we also can remind ourselves that these bodies are gifts. And if we can take the time to practice this quiet, calm state of observation, then we can actually appreciate all of the ways, perhaps the ways that we take for granted every day, all of the ways that the body and the various parts of the body, the various aspects of our embodied existence are actually precious gifts. They're things that we can be so grateful for. They're things that we can appreciate, that we can actually be excited about. And we can actually, from that place of appreciation and gratitude and enthusiasm, we can try to practice more intention. If we really love someone, we love the gift that they give us, right? Um, I love Sinem so much, and in her absence, I see something that she gifted to me, and it immediately reminds me of her. It immediately connects me to her. So gifts have the power to do that. When I see that gift and it connects me to Sinem, it not only connects me to Sinem, it not only connects me to the memory of Sinem, but it inspires me to appreciate that gift on such a deep level that I will naturally treat that gift so preciously. I'll treat it with such intention, such purpose, such gentleness and kindness. And so also, if we recognize that our bodies, that our minds, our thoughts, our abilities, all of these things that we can either so often take for granted, or we can, or on the other side of the extreme, or the other side of the spectrum, the other extreme, we can um, take as a cause to build up our egos. But if we can see all of these things, if we can see our bodies and the various gifts that go along with our bodies and minds as precious gifts, then we can recommit to using them with intention, to treating them as gifts, and to directing them to their highest purposes. So I just wanted to share this a little bit. We'll talk more in our next session about, and I'll try to draw from the Bhagavad Gita and other texts like it, um, about how we may think about using the gifts of the body, the mind, our words, our abilities. But for now, I just wanted to touch on and invite us into this space of making that shift to seeing, to observing the body and the mind as gifts, and to taking the time to expressing, to be able to express our gratitude and our appreciation for them. Um, so that kind of brings us to the end of our time, but I'm happy to stay a little bit longer and open it up for any questions, comments, anything anyone would like to share, either from this meditation or from other experiences, observing and perhaps feeling some gratitude for the body. Thank you, Lynn. Namaste. Well, again, thank you all so much. And we will reconvene in our next session, where we'll talk a little bit more about embodiment, but also about the role that our efforts, um, our our intentional actions play in living out our meditation or yoga practice. So I look forward to that conversation with all of you. It's so lovely to see you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. Namaste.